Sitaram, and welcome to the Adelaide Conference. A lot of people have been working towards this for a long time, and we are extremely happy to welcome you to Adelaide. My name is Albert Burrells, and I'm your MC tonight. Before we go into the very special program, and I think you will enjoy it, I just want to mention to you that Adelaide has been holding these conferences for a long time. The very first conference in Australia, of course, was held in Melbourne. I think it was in 1985. But the first residential conference was held in South Australia, in Victor Harbour. And some of you would have been there. It was when Dr. Hislop was speaking. And you were there too? Yes? I think Arton was there too, and Jake?
There were 2 times.
There was another one?
Yes. Another time.
But the one in 1987, we had about 120 people, the first residential conference in Australia. Then the second one we held was in 1991, and it was in Cutley Creek. And again, quite a few of you were there, a beautiful conference. We had about 350 to 400 people, and Dr. Sam Sandweiss was one of the speakers there, as I recall. And then, of course, in 2003, we had a conference in Gore, as you might remember, in the motel complex, where, again, residential, and some of you would have been there. And, of course, now in 2015, we are blessed to be able to welcome you to Adelaide, a very special occasion for all of us. Tonight we have 2 parts to the program. First we have the Welcome to Country, and I'll talk about it in a second as an introduction, and then we have some bedtime stories. We have some stories from some of our devotees who will tell about some of their experiences, and we know that will lead to a very good night's rest after that. So, the Welcome to Country. I am really quite excited about it because we have tonight Carl Telfer, who I know, and is a Carl Winder Telfer. He's a very experienced, long-serving person in his community. He's a senior cultural custodian for his clan countries, from his grandfather's tribal lands within the Adelaide Plains, the Mullabira, or dry forest, Pangara, Igana, Mayuna people, and his grandmother's tribal lands, Mulamai, Pangara, in the Narranga country on the York Peninsula. Carl has really been engaging the wider communities through many ecological, cultural, and spiritual renewal practices and ways of understanding country and First Nations culture. He is also a knowledge bearer of the peace law fire of the Chibruki generational renewal in the early 80s. So his tribal family group, the Chibruki cultural bears, having started this work in the early 80s. And he is joined tonight by his nephews, Kano and Carl. And I will welcome Carl to the stage now.
What I just said in the language, maybe I should I'll just take that off so I'll save everyone's ears. Can you all hear me? Yeah? Deadly. So what I just said in the language, the recovering language and story of spirit and country here was a greetings to all in spirit, to this place, from the 4 directions, well, from the many directions, to the Earth Mother place that supports us all in our dreaming, in our constant dreaming of us renewing ourselves and our reflection in our own country. It's great to be here, and thank you for honouring us with the invitation to allow us to come and share some story as well in the world of Sai, yeah? Yes, because it's about everybody. And I'm glad to be here as well, and my family that are here as well. So I've got my nephews here. I have my nephews here, and I'm going to bring them out now. And we're also part of Budget, which is I guess a group that was forged from a dream. It came from a dream. The dreaming still continues if you can keep your spirit quiet and sit long enough to listen. And some of those teachings that have been passed through different elders that have crossed my path have assisted me in trying to keep my calmness in this world that we're living in today. So they're younger people, they're the next generation, and for me this is passing on some of the, I guess, the knowledge, the sharing, the hope, and the continuation of our culture. Our definition of culture is to be able to draw sustenance from the earth itself. That's what culture means to us. There are many different meanings of culture in the dictionary. I don't think it's quite clear, but I think when we all think about that basic need that we have and that love, that's where it all begins. So I bring this one here and talking about that because the earth is important, and this one here doesn't come from our country. It's brought down here as a gift, and it's called the Iraqi, from the people from Yolngu country in northeast Arnhem Land. And I just say, which is honouring and speaking their lingo to be able to bring this here and have permission to share this with you all tonight. So I'm going to bring on my nephews now. Just better move that little bit of technology out the way there. Yes. Watch your back! Watch your back! Sorry about that, Dad. You can use this. Oh, can we use it? So here I have my nephews here from family. First fella here, Kano Martin. His totem name is Curry, and Curry is the emu. Story. Another nephew over here, Kyle Williams, and his totem story is Wurtul, which is the eagle. And mine is Winder, and that's the owl. Yes. Old fella. But this first dance we want to do now is, I guess, paying the respect. And this one we do hit the ground hard because it's sending the vibration through the ground to come back up. And the ancestors of the past, they're not past, they're always present. They're all here, always with us, wherever we are. And it's through the light that we see them, and it's something that we hold on to, even in the urban life that we dwell in today. So this one here is a greetings to all, to the spirit of place.
Ma! Watch ma!
And when we when we talk about some of the different things that we have, I guess, in our culture, and to us, in dreaming creation and through those times, the animals are very, very important to us. The trees, everything. We share the same breaths. We share the same. We feel the same things. And some of our old stories that we have of those times talk about where things are now today. And this first one that we want to do and share this song is about Cuddy the emu. And when I was introduced, you would have heard about my grandmother's country, straight across the Gulf there in Narungga country. There's a place over there, Cuddy and there's a waterhole that's over there in the limestone. It's still there today. There's a big sort of fence around it and stuff. It's hard to access, but it's still there. And this talks about a story a long, long, long time ago, before the Gulf was filled up with water, because water was important. And back then, some of the ancestral beings weren't sharing enough of that water. And a great ancestor had to come and said, well, if you're not going to stop arguing about the water and fighting about the water, I'm going to have to separate you two people. So they ran it both ways. One emu this way, another one over there. So there's a waterhole over there called Cuddy, and the takeoff point is from a place further down here called Mudlanga, which is Port Adelaide, which is the nose. And that's where they took off straight over across to that place. So this one here is just a song in remembering that, because it's an important story to share. The next one, saying, Dan, do this, do that, do all this technology. Next one I'm going to do now talks about this place here, another story of creation. Some of you might have seen me wearing a shirt earlier, a black shirt with a, well, it's a pink kangaroo. That was on my shirt. It talks about this other one now we want to share. It's about the kangaroo. Very, very important, this one here. It's in the shape of the country itself. That kangaroo that I was wearing on that shirt is actually from satellite pictures, way above. And a lot of the old people had that knowledge, had that wisdom, and had that connection, I guess, before the word primitive became a negative word, I guess, through the beginning of the industrialized revolution. It's funny that when primitive means the closest to the source, and I think we're all wanting to get back there, because it is something that is a calling for all of us as human beings of light. So this old story, when I say to people, it's there, it's in the land. It's been proven scientifically 500 million years old, something like that, but how are we to know the story? Well, I wear it above my chest because it's always a good talking point, really, to make more friends in humanity, I mean the spirit of humanity, because what people fear is just what they don't understand. So this one here is about Tunda, the red kangaroo. actually, I was reminded earlier today, and it's not about the conscience, I guess the conscience, but we're missing our girls tonight, and we do have girls in our group, and I was reminded by my lovely wife about that, and I must say something about that because it's very, very important, because we do come from that, that place of sacred balance, and I guess in honouring the ancestor, the earth, and everything else that comes from her, I must apologise publicly, but it's always about that respect. So this next one now is about the young people now. This is a dance. It's not like a show-off dance or anything, but it's about the agility, because when we dance, we do all sorts of different things when we're in the moment with these sort of dances. And this one is like a free dance. And that's how we were born. We were born free. And we roam the country, not aimlessly, but intentionally. Just like our movements within our dance. There's a whole range of different stories, like our paint up and everything else that goes with, with who we are. So this one we call Wapiti Makati, and this is like a shaker leg dance, this one. And the problem with this one is that as you get older, yes, you know what I'm talking about. That leg don't shake like they used to, One go that way and another one go the other way, like that there. And then you got to stop them and say, come on, wake up. Sometimes it takes just a bit more to warm them up. But this is where we look at the next generation, and we encourage them to come forward, because they can do all of that and shake their leg and do those sorts of things. Not as a show-off, but we sit down and smile. The old people, they sit down and they smile because they see a part of their little style there coming through the next generation. And they smile because they remembered when they could do it, Even though they get up now and the old fellas get up and do it. And they can do it too, Sometimes the young fellas look out and the old fellas get up, don't start them. Once their knees get warmed up, they know how to do it. So this one is just about that. So these are like happy dances, because these ones here are passing on culture, passing on knowledge, and passing on the way forward for the coming generations.
Wapiti Makati ma! Watch out!
Yeah, I really like the sound of the didgeridoo too. What about that, You fellas doing this? Wow, golly. Makes my knees tired just watching that. But thanks for the sound there. That's really nice there on that yodaki there on the didge. Make it sound very special. Thank you. Not many people go out of their way to do that for us. So thank you, brothers. Now we'd just like to bring forth the fire now. This is something that we've been holding on to for a long time, and it was mentioned before about the fire in Jabruki. Jabruki is the peace law. It was a peace law story that they say 6,000 years old, and very old song, old story, but it's all about peace. And with this story, the Jabruki, and we make the fire, I guess, in honouring that. Talks about that, and talks about the knowledge of fire, because fire is something that we used to shape this country. This whole country it's how we kept this place clean, this country clean over thousands and thousands of years. And this is something that we want to bring everyone, I guess, together with, in honouring what we did, because this was all about renewal. When we made fire, it was about renewal. It was about nurturing the earth. We didn't just go and burn it, you know. We had 3 fires: a cool fire, a warm fire, and a hot fire. And it was all about regenerating. It was all about sharing and understanding the country, so that kangaroos could come, emus can come, the lizards can come, the bush turkey, which is this time of year, wild bunny, can come, so we could share in this together. And when we get this one like this and you see the smoke rise, I say, would you? And let's call in the ancestors of the old, because this is the closest thing that we have as men to understanding how the seed of life can be born. So we make this one like this, and you can see the connection. It's a circle between the hands, between the body, between the ground, the fireboard, the fire stick coming around. And that's how we twirl them like that, back and forth, using the mara as the hands. You want me to have a little shot there? Pardon? Is this one working? And now we're going to ask Tom, and we're going to come down. Because we've got to be careful here. This is very beautiful, but we're going to ask Tom to light the candle, the first candle from our fire. So as we light, I guess share light from their light for our ancestors now, spiritual guides. We'd now like to ask people to come forward with the leaves and to share them into the fire after the candles are lit.
UK and now, but I think the Leagues now have contribution, I guess, to the fight, so please come forward to me. Yeah. We can fit what we can inside that small vessel, huh? Yeah. But what will happen after with the coals and what we normally do when we make this fire is we go and put it back into the earth, back into the light. So that essence and that gathering of the spirit and what's been contributed, that energy remains here in this place as a positive beacon of light for all of us.
I came from the dream time, from the dusty red soil plains. I am the ancient heart, the keeper of the flame. I stood upon the rocky shore, I watched the tall ships come. For 40,000 years I've been the first Australian. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. I'm a teller of stories, I'm a singer of songs. I'm not a hero, and I'm here for those that come. I'm Clancy on his horse, Ned Kelly on the run. I'm the one who wants to build up. I am Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. I'm the hot wind from the desert, I'm the black soil of the plains, I'm the mountains and the valleys, I'm the golden flooding rain. I am the rock, I am the sky, the rivers when they run, the spirit of this great land. I am Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. I am, you are, we are Australia. I am, you are, we are Australia.
In the traditional way, they take this outside and bury it there next to the tent as part of the tradition. And wasn't this special?